My wife had been hiding a second phone for 6 months before I found it. I discovered it completely by accident, and what I thought it meant, what I was absolutely sure it meant, almost destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me. Let me take you back to the beginning. My name is Daniel. I've been married to my wife Elena for 11 years. We met when we were both working terrible jobs at a call center in our mid-20s. She used to bring homemade sandwiches to work and quietly leave one on my desk without saying a word. That was Elena. She never made a big show out of kindness. She just did it. 3 years later, we got married. We bought a small house, adopted a dog named Potato. Nothing glamorous, just a quiet, honest life that we built together piece by piece. And for 11 years, I trusted that woman completely. Which is exactly why the next part nearly broke me. The first time something felt wrong, I told myself I was imagining it. It was a Tuesday night in February. I was watching TV while Elena sat across from me in the armchair. She was on her phone, which wasn't unusual, but the way she was holding it was. The screen was tilted away from me, her body angled slightly toward the wall. When I looked up, she looked up immediately, like she had been checking to see if I was watching. She smiled. I smiled back, and I told myself I was being ridiculous, but the feeling didn't go away. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing more little things. She would leave the room to answer calls. She closed apps quickly when I walked past. Once I came home early from work and heard her speaking quietly in the bedroom. The moment I opened the door, she stopped talking. "Who was that?" I asked. "My sister," she said, but she didn't look at me when she said it. And something about that stayed with me. I want to be honest about something. I'm not a jealous man. I never checked Elena's phone. I never tracked her location. That wasn't the kind of relationship we had. But something had changed. You know that feeling when you can sense a storm coming? You can't explain why. You just know. That was the feeling sitting in my chest every night when I tried to fall asleep. And eventually it started to eat at me. Then one Saturday morning in March, I found it. We were about to leave to visit Elena's parents. I went to the car early to put a bag in the back seat. When I pushed it aside, something slid across the floor. I reached down and picked it up. It was a phone. A simple black smartphone. No case, no brand I recognized. My first thought was that someone had left it in the car, but then the screen lit up. Notifications. Several of them. Recent ones. Messages from that same morning. This wasn't a forgotten phone. Someone was using it. Recently. Regularly. And suddenly my stomach dropped. Because I already knew who that someone probably was. I put the phone back exactly where I found it. Then I walked back inside like nothing had happened. But inside my head, everything had changed. For the next 2 days, I said nothing. I kept telling myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe it was for work. Maybe it was an old device she used for something specific. But the questions kept coming. Why was it hidden in the car? Why had I never seen it before? Why had she never mentioned it? And the more I thought about it, the darker my answers became. By the third day, I couldn't take it anymore. I waited until Elena was in the shower. Then I went to the car, picked up the phone, sat in the driver's seat. My hands were shaking slightly. I told myself I wasn't going to look. I really did. But after about 30 seconds, I unlocked it. It wasn't even password protected. The messages were in a thread with someone saved simply as M. Just the letter, no last name. The conversation went back 4 months, and the tone of the messages made my chest tighten. They weren't romantic, but they were personal, deeply personal. The kind of messages you send someone you care about, someone you're protecting, someone you're hiding. Then I saw one message that made my stomach drop. "He can't know about any of this yet. Please keep it between us." My hands started shaking. I locked the phone, put it back, went inside, sat at the kitchen table, and tried to breathe. The next 2 weeks were the worst weeks of my life. Because instead of asking Elena what was going on, I built an entire story in my head. And in that story, she was cheating. Every smile suddenly looked fake. Every late text message looked suspicious. Every moment of silence between us started to feel like proof. And slowly, our marriage started rotting from the inside. Until one night, I couldn't take it anymore. "Elena," I said, turning off the TV, "I need to ask you something." She looked at me immediately. She could hear it in my voice. "Is there something you're hiding from me?" There was a long silence. Then she said something I wasn't ready for. "Yes." Just like that. Yes. She didn't lie. She didn't deflect. Her eyes filled with tears, but she looked straight at me. "I have been hiding something," she said quietly, "and I'm so sorry." The room suddenly felt smaller. "Tell me," I said, and that's when she told me the truth. M wasn't some secret lover. M was Marcus, her younger brother. Marcus had relapsed, badly. Months earlier, he had called Elena in the middle of the night, ashamed, terrified, begging her not to tell anyone in the family. Not yet. He didn't want to disappoint everyone again. So Elena became his lifeline. She bought a second phone, a private number he could call any time, day or night. She drove him to therapy, answered his midnight calls, sent him money from her freelance work. For months, she carried all of that alone, because she promised him she would. And suddenly, everything I believed for 2 weeks collapsed. She hadn't been hiding a lover. She had been hiding an act of love. The same quiet kind of love she had always shown the people in her life. And I had stood there in our house, looking at her like she was a stranger. I pulled her into my arms, held her there for a long time. Finally, I said something quietly. "You should have told me." She nodded. "I know. I just didn't want to break his trust." "You didn't break mine," I said. "I almost broke yours." And that realization hit harder than anything else. Here's what I learned from all of it. The human mind is dangerous when it fills silence with fear. I built an entire story in my head, a convincing story, a painful story, and none of it was true. My wife wasn't betraying me. She was being the exact person I fell in love with. Someone who shows up for the people she loves, quietly, completely. Marcus has been clean for over a year now. He came to dinner last month and made everyone laugh again, just like he used to. And Elena? She still leaves little things on my desk without saying a word, just like she did the day we met. That's still who she is. That's who she's always been. And if I had let my fear win, I might have lost all of that over a phone I never even bothered to ask her about. So if you're ever sitting in silence, building stories in your head, don't do what I did. Ask, talk, trust the person you chose. Because sometimes the truth is far kinder than the story fear tries to tell you.